Hello and welcome back to the Retail Podcast. Today I'm joined by Natalia Horvath, who is currently supporting Retrieve, which is how long, Natalia? How long has Retrieve actually been? Are they a startup? Are they established? Because I know that you said they're based in Rotterdam.
Yes, it's a really fresh startup brand. So basically it exists for a year.
Okay.
Let's say it like that. But the idea and the brand idea was there already around for couple of years, but officially it exists for a year.
And do they have a physical store, or are they just purely online?
No, it's purely D2C. So far.
Yeah, no worries. So listen, it feels like, and obviously I met you last year at Shop Talk when you were in your other role. So why don't we rewind and maybe you take us through your career, where you started to what you're doing now.
Yeah, no, thanks, Alexander. It's also really great to be here and talking to you. I love podcasts, and it's always a pleasure to talk about my past and, of course, the present, and especially the future, which I think you can imagine that I'm the most excited about. Zooming back a bit to the past. So first of all, I think it was one of the best shop talks last year where I've been. It was such a fun event. So it was great to meet you there. So at that time I was still with Diageo. So my career basically started in the consumer goods industry around 14 years ago, where I started with Unilever in the local market in Hungary, which originally I'm from, and then basically over the years I've been in brand marketing, customer marketing, digital, e-commerce, and I moved to the Netherlands to regional first and then global roles across different categories within Unilever. So this is the reason why I'm based in Rotterdam for now almost 10 years, and it was like 3 years ago when I joined Diageo after Unilever as head of customer marketing and omnichannel development of the luxury portfolio of Diageo on that time. So that was the reason I've been also at Shop Talk with my team, and we had a really, really great time. Also because Barcelona is known for super bars, like the best bars in the world. For example, Paradiso is also based in Barcelona.
Yeah, Diageo, I'm sure you had to taste your product.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, it was really fun, of course. I don't work anymore for Diageo, but it was a really, really fun experience, especially with luxury brands when you have to go for trade visits. Like before I was working for categories like home care and beauty and ice. Okay, ice cream was fun, right? But imagine still luxury drinks, alcohol beverages, right? That you have to visit visit bars, right? You have to go to Mykonos, to Barcelona to visit bars. I mean, it's really fun, of course, but I have also a family and I have a daughter, so who turned 8 yesterday, actually. So
oh wow, congratulations.
Thank you so much. So for that reason, it was also really hectic for me, of course, having a lot of travels, having a very demanding role, which one of the reasons that I decided. It was already in the making for a while, but I decided to hit a bit of a pause on my corporate career, let's say it like that, and focus a little bit more on my family, some personal endeavors which I had already on my bucket list. Yeah. So that's how basically that's how I started. And just one more thing on that when I won last year, around this time at 40 under 40 hours from Retail Touchpoints, and that was sort of, that's where I felt that, you know what, I need to probably pause right now. I mean, it was a great ride through the industry, and now I want to give back a little bit also too.
And your personal project is writing your book, right?
Yes, correct. So that's one of the biggest projects I'm focusing on right now.
And what's the book focused on?
So it's funny, Alex, because it was not. I wouldn't say that it was not that long ago. I think it was like probably 3 years already in the making in my head, sort of a framework which I was, I think, subconsciously using in different roles across different brands. But it was sort of coming back to the same core. And every time I started in a new brand, in a new role, I was thinking about that. yeah, but this is sort of the core. And then when I hit the pause button in February, so that, this is something that I could actually phrase as a framework. And this is how the Bridge framework was born. And then I started to think about it. Okay, how can I actually make a fun book, which is not just about case studies and all the experiences and corporate things like that, but more like through my life as a woman, as an Eastern European, how I got to where I am, and relatively fast, let's say it like that. So and how using this framework sort of in the subconscious was guiding me as sort of a guiding star. And for this reason, the book's name is Fast. But it's focusing on this framework, which I've been using for many years.
So I mentioned earlier, Natalia, that in the previous seasons, I've done this whole sort of focus on empowering female leaders, looking at how there is that sort of allyship between female leaders, and I know that that's a very strong sort of part of what you're about, and the whole, as you were talking about, taking your career gap, writing the book, passing on that wisdom. I'm just curious, are there any other ways that you are sort of empowering the community, or looking at how you empower female younger Natalias or people who are your peers in the industry?
Yeah, so one of the big things which are coming up, actually, and I'm sort of fingers crossed. I don't want to talk too much about it in that sense, because of course it's a really, really exciting one, and I'm afraid to sort of jinx it, that where does it go, because it's a big thing for me personally, because this is 100% voluntarily, right? I don't get paid for it. There is no let's say money involved. It's purely to give back to women in our community in Rotterdam, and that's basically that I'm organizing a local TEDx event. So there will be 5 TED Talk speakers in this conference from different industries, only for women. Only women speakers, and really about empowering women. The theme of the TEDx event, which is actually on the 5th of November in Rotterdam this year, which is the only TEDx event in Rotterdam happening actually this year. So it's a really exciting one. And the theme is resilience and renewal. So this is where I feel as well that maybe with some, just with a small thing, that just listening to some really inspiring speeches, I hope that we can help to empower women in our local community here in Rotterdam to think about that, how they can be more resilient in a world where from all over the places you just hear the same thing, which is like, okay, no, nothing is certain, just this is coming, be afraid, fear, right? In this kind of environment, especially for women, I think, which is also biologically proven, that women are more prone to sort of being risk averse, and then afraid of afraid of change in that sense. How we can make sure that regardless of what's coming from Instagram, from TikTok, from all the algorithm powered social media networks, you just have to think that no, we are actually really resilient. Women are really resilient, and we can renew, and these two comes hand in hand. And this is where the speeches will be centered around. So TEDx Coolhaven Women, 5th of November. That's sort of where I would love to give back to our community.
What would be that, one piece of advice that if you could go back to a younger self, what would you tell your younger self?
Yeah, I love this question. I think it's actually brilliant. I use it many times when I'm doing mentoring with women, to also think with that hat. That, for example, what would I do if, or what would I say to the younger self? And what comes to my mind, and this is also captured in a book, that probably just slow down, because the world is going to spin faster and faster, right? It's also physics laws, right? Once the acceleration starts, it's just, we see it now with AI, we see it with a lot of different technologies, and we saw it in the past as well, that once the acceleration starts, it will just, go on. However, what we can do, because we cannot change the world, right? We can only control what we can control, and that's usually ourselves. And this is where, in contrast of the title of Fast, I'm actually saying that just try to slow down, try to anchor yourself into what you think that you are good at and what you are also passionate about, and try to really focus on that thing. Don't spread yourself too thin. Just try to anchor yourself. The world will keep spinning around you very, very fast, and changes will be just coming more and more into your way, especially as you grow in your career, as you grow in your personal life. But one thing that you have to sort of think about that how to slow down. And I like just to say one quote as well on this, which I really like from Einstein, that the only reason for time is so that everything doesn't happen at once. And
Okay.
I think this is actually one of the quotes I was also using for the book.
Oh, fantastic. So obviously, we'll come on to what the current project, as in like what you're doing as a CMO right now. But I'm just curious in terms of, because the listenership of the podcast sort of equally distributes between 25 to 35, 35 to 45, and 45 to 55. So obviously being at the youngest end of that, what would be some sort of, obviously your younger self would be to take it slow, but specifically in the corporate world, what's the secret to your success? What has helped you?
I think if there is a secret, first of all, I think just the side, I think I was also very lucky, sometimes that, because I'm a person who exposes herself to a lucky situation, let's say it like that. I mean, I'm open to be here, I'm open to write a book, I'm open to do keynotes, etc. I'm open to organize events, and also do that. So basically exposing yourself to a lot of different situations, I think also finds luck. And that's one of the reasons that, let's just put it as a side note, that I think luck is a big thing there, right? So coming from Eastern Europe, making a global career, I think that's you have to be also fortunate to do that. But I think what actually helped me also professionally, because that's something that I also realized actually around the time when my daughter was born 8 years ago, is that things are really connected, right? And I started to connect basically the dots between different functions that I've been doing before and on that time, because I used to do brand marketing, customer marketing, digital. My husband is an IT engineer, so also in tech, I was sort of just by the fact of living for 14 years, computer scientist, you just start to get into that anyway. So basically, I think I started to see that, how to connect these dots. And that's where I started to realize, for example, how early on, let's say, the power of Omnichannel and the power of, how to connect different channels, while still in many leadership roles, people were talking about, okay, no, we are focusing now only on our B2B business. We are focusing only on our D2C business. And that's just wrong. At a certain level, you have to see that, how you can really connect those dots. And I think that's where basically I would say that my career also accelerated when I started to say it out loud that, hey, what about this? And challenge a little bit the status quo that, how we can do that. And I think that was really helpful.
I got you. So moving on into your current role as the CMO for Retrieve. Tell us a little bit more about Retrieve. What are they about? What do they do?
Yeah, so it's really funny actually when you think about like, okay, what's the next career move and how am I going to make my my next career move? So normally you think about like, who am I going to talk to from my network? And for me, it was actually starting at the gym. So it was very funny because I was doing CrossFit now for over a year, and in my local gym, they were organizing a fundraiser, which was basically, so I live near a canal. It's a ski canal, and across the canal is my gym. So basically, between my house and the gym, there is a canal, and it's full of plastic. It's unfortunately like in many canals in the Netherlands, you see that. It's just getting really polluted. And basically, the fundraiser was sponsored by Retrieve, and one of the reasons is because Retrieve is a sports apparel brand, made of 100% recycled bottles. So every T-shirt and garment what they're making, it's made of 100% recycled bottles. And basically, why the fundraiser? Because they're collaborating with local companies. Like, for example, it was a company called Clear River collaborating with Retrieve and my local gym to actually fish out the plastic from the canal,
right?
Recycle it, and then make T-shirts from it. And so then the
raw materials actually comes from in this case Rotterdam, but they are European raw materials. Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So I found the concept really, really interesting, and of course, these are this is really difficult to make, right? Especially at scale. So of course, the brand is around now for around a year, but it's really difficult to scale, especially when you are sort of facing all the geopolitical and the macroeconomic challenges. Everything sort of goes against circularity, and this is where I'm like, seriously, no, we should do something about it. And if I put somewhere my knowledge into really purposeful and meaningful work, I thought that this is something that I must do. It was sort of an inner feeling that I said that, hey, this is just great. I mean, I feel connected to the community. I feel connected to sports. I feel connected to brands, and especially retail brands. So that's basically how we started to have a good chat with the founder, and then introducing the team, and we started to just see that how can we work together. And then in the end, it came this opportunity that, hey, wow, what if you would join us as a CEO? And I said, you know what? That sounds great.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Super exciting. And it's interesting because I remember part of the problem with some European companies that I've spoken to about recycling or using plastic is they've had to go offshore to recycling plants in other places. But then it's really difficult to make sure that you're actually getting true recycled material as opposed to someone labeling it as part recycled. But in this case, it's 100% recycled material.
Exactly, 100%. And this is where also the challenge is exactly what you're saying, Alex, where the challenge is coming from. And that's where the team was very focused so far to get that supply chain, to really have every single T-shirt coming from those sources where, there is a sustainable sources, which is certified 100% recycled. You can actually trace back from where is the material coming from, and also the other reason as well that you see that many of the recycled, because of course there's a lot of greenwashing, right? And unfortunately that's really a sad news for the industry. And unfortunately, when you have a big supply chain, like when you work for a big company, which I'm knowledgeable about, it's it's not their fault as well that they cannot make it just like this. The switch that now we are making from everything fully recycled garments. It's just impossible, right? You would have to invest, even just not just with investment, but everything. You would have to turn around the whole business. Whereas when you're a small company, a small brand, you can really start from first making sure that supply chain is 100% transparent, and that's what the brand was doing. And now when you have that, you see the demand, but you have to be you have to bridge fast, but you also have to be slow on scaling, not to get into that point that, okay, now, we don't have enough fabric, because that also can happen, right? Sometimes we are running out of T-shirts because there is simply just the process is a bit slower than when you just harvest, other materials. Yeah.
That's interesting. And in terms of the where the brand is positioned, what's your ideal sort of shopper? What's the profile of the ideal person that we buying Retrieve?
Yeah. So I think the biggest advantage of Retrieve is that it's focusing on ambassadors, right? So the slogan is "Lead the Recovery," and that's where it comes, the ambassador focus. And who are the ambassadors? It's really people, athletes who can be anyone basically, who gets to a point that maybe they are injured. Maybe they have, there are a lot of sports injuries. So one of the reasons, for example, we are collaborating with gyms like CrossFit gyms, personal trainers who are like physiotherapists, etc. And also, for example, there there is a really, really beautiful collaboration with the Rajna Rehabilitacija. Is a local, actually a relatively big local rehabilitation organization. They are focusing on children rehabilitation, for example, from different either injuries or with born causes that they just cannot be the same athlete. But they are really, really eager on doing sports. And I think this is where the beauty comes on, that all Retrieve ambassadors are focusing on actually their community where they lead the recovery. And this is, I think, what gives a differentiation for the brand compared to just, okay, everyone is an athlete and everyone can buy the t-shirts. No, it's really about those who actually make something for their community, because it Retrieve equally focuses on the recovery of people and the recovery of the planet.
Got you. Understood. And so do you feel that that's like the channels that you'll look at in terms of whether it's social commerce and you're going through, I don't know, Instagram and TikTok, as a CMO and as a new CMO in role, what would be the sort of your preference in channel, just out of curiosity?
Yeah. So one of the and it's a great question, Alex, actually, because that's usually the question I get. That okay, so now what channel? So is it really going to stay B2B? Is it going to stay B2C? Is it no? It's going to be omnichannel, and actually even further channelless, right? So what I want to put in practice, which I'm talking about now for couple of years already, doing keynotes about the same sort of topic around the power of omnichannel and the future of channelless marketing. I actually now putting it into practice. So the whole team is and the whole brand is structured around interconnectedness, which means that of course the core is going to be D2C, right? You know, we still want to have direct relationships, mostly because we want to build loyal connections with these ambassadors, right? Who then also connect with their own communities and become make also their communities loyal to the brand. However, there are obviously it cannot be focused solely on one channel, and this is where the power of omnichannel comes in. That through the consumer journey, we are basically connecting the different touch points, which are important, for example, for Retrieve in this case, to be really meaningfully connecting, for example, with some bigger businesses, which is clearly B2B channel work, right? Clearly, there is the direct-to-consumer with our own website and the ambassadors. But there is also, of course, a business-to-consumer part when we are talking to, for example, gyms and personal trainers, and then they are reaching out to their own communities. So this is where the whole interconnectedness comes. And then social media, you know, it's a bit of like how I say that, you know, you cannot build your whole strategy around social media and TikTok, even though nowadays it's very popular. No, because that's sort of the earrings on top of your body, right? That's something that you will have to plan, and you have to have a clear content calendar. And we are working on that. Our team is working on that. But there is really the first thing what we need to do is a core omnichannel consumer journey. And then when we figure that out, then we connect those touch points in a meaningful way.
Yeah, well, one of the themes that I picked up this year going to the conferences is the fact that digital touch points, there are so many now in terms of previously, you know, maybe there was 5 or 6 touch points before the consumer landed on your website. Now it's growing to 12 or 15, and conversion takes longer online than it's ever done before, unless you know you're lucky and you hit a sweet product that is doing well on TikTok or something. I don't know, but I'm just curious, when you look at the future and you look at the future of e-commerce, what are the trends that you think that will be shaping the, you know, looking into the distance?
Yeah, I think one of the big trends, of course, and we hear it a lot. I'm sure you, Alex, and also the listeners heard a lot about it. That the retail media is back, that the cookieless world is gone, and then now you know everything's that. And now brands who've been solely focusing on direct to consumer channels, or like, you know, direct sales, they're now starting to be a bit afraid. Like, okay, now what's going to happen with me? That I'm going to lose basically the base of customers, who could choose through retailers, for example, to us, because I'm not going to be able to reach them, for example. And then this is where I think a big let's say a big mistake, what brands usually do is that then they start to just switch like, okay, now I'm going to pause that, and then I'm going to start to focus on my retailer relationships, and then we are going to build together through their retail media networks, our campaigns, and then my whole budget goes there. And then you start to forget that, it's not going to work, because simply focusing on one channel, that's really the past. And this is where I believe that, especially for e-commerce, the future comes around that how you can manage to connect touch points instead of just, building a robust, let's say, retailer-focused growth strategy. No, your growth strategy should be actually omnichannel growth strategies, which is also connecting your direct-to-consumer business to your strategic retailer partnerships. And you rather choose less than many, but do those few really, really well.
I'm looking at the time and I'm thinking there's so much that you've just said there to sort of unpack and go through. But unfortunately, we've hit I need to let you get back to what your day job. So thank you so much for giving up the time and spending that with us. Super insightful in terms of the elements that we spoke to. So I just wanted to say thank you. Really appreciate it.